As you can see here, we're gonna go through the Stoicism subreddit today. Why am I not on the computer? Well, this is due to the fact that I'm still rendering something, and yeah, it doesn't work that well, when I'm rendering something, when it is processing things heavily, it's not that easy. But I think that it would be better like this. Yes, definitely way better. There we go. Let's have a look. Maybe there's something rather amazing here today. Maybe there's also something that's not that amazing. I don't know. This is the beauty of Reddit. This is the beauty of being online, that you do not always know what is coming up and what is going to happen, what you're going to see, what you're going to have to talk about, what you're going to have to also not necessarily have to talk about. It sounds like, it's probably going to be something bad and whatnot. No, also kind of having well, anyway. Let's see. Quote from Dune. Have you seen the movie? I haven't yet, unfortunately. But I would also say that I'm never gonna see it, at least not in the cinema. But the movie per se, I guess, yeah, I'm gonna watch it at some point. I'm actually not that big in the movie game, to be honest. I do care about it. I think it is part of culture, and solely by that is pretty important. But still, well, not necessarily the thing that I also like to do in my leisure time. I do not watch a lot of movies. I tend to watch YouTube videos, or just try to be productive or play games. I'm really actually not that big into movies. Maybe partly also because I do not have Netflix or Disney Plus or Amazon Prime or Hulu or you get the point. There is a quote. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I'm sorry. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, it will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Been on a Dune binge since the new movie dropped. I saw this and reminded me of you guys. Edit. Per the rules of the sub, it relates to Stoicism because I think the quote captures the fundamental importance of mindfulness that's emphasized in Stoic teachings. To place one's focus not on the thoughts and feelings in the moment, but rather the capacity to manage those same feelings. Fear is the result of your own intrusive thoughts. As funny as it is, I've had a presentation today. It went quite well. I am definitely not really satisfied with my own performance. Most often I do not necessarily care about the team per se, that I'm having to work with or that I'm working with. But most often I do really also try to focus on my own performance, something that I can indeed also change, and where I can also learn something. Before we were actually the last group to present things, and it was in total 51 people, therefore around, well, I guess 20 groups or something. And so we were the really last ones, which, it depends on how you think about it. Might be something good, might be something amazing, might be something really bad. I don't know. My point is, I was actually quite nervous, even if it was online, and I was sitting here in my chair, and I was actually feeling quite cold, which I think was due to me, first of all, my room just being cold, but on the other hand, might have also just been me kind of trying to tell me, okay, you're just cold, you're not nervous. But I think in the end I was indeed nervous, and so Also started meditating, I started breathing, I started consciously breathing, I started to just, calm myself a bit down, because I didn't really understand why I was nervous, and also why I'm presenting I was nervous, which is in the end always a pretty big problem, I would say, because of course, if you're nervous, you're probably not going to present the things that you want to present in a certain way, in that way. Meaning the performance, at least my performance, most often kind of is a bit worse than I would like it to be. And I also tend to forget about things anyway. My point is, and why I'm telling you the story, well, it is indeed in my capacity to change how I feel about things. And so, as he says as well, fear is the result of your own intrusive thoughts. You're just making yourself fear something. And I thought about the exact same thing while I was being nervous. The only person that is making me feel nervous is myself. Is there actually a reason to be nervous? Do I have to be nervous, especially realizing and thinking about the fact that by being nervous, my performance is not going to be better. It's not going to be as great as it could be. And therefore, maybe the fear that one might be having when being nervous of, okay, I'm going to not do as good as I could be. People are going to love about me. People are going to whatever the thought might be. Definitely not my thoughts, by the way. But those fears, they just come from myself. These are this intrinsic and or intrusive thoughts that I have. And so in the end, it would serve me way more, and actually everyone, to just not be nervous, because it's going to make everything better. Well, that being said, let's move on to the next thing. How does one deal with the self-righteous "I told you so" from a friend? I wrote this letter a year ago to myself, and not much has changed. Hello, I'm 16 years old and I want to talk about the meaning of life. Well, let's read this letter. I'm not... the thing is, if I would show you, I'm not gonna, but the text does not have any single paragraphs. Well, basically it is one big paragraph, which is the whole problem, because I'm not gonna go through that. I'm not gonna go through just a whole bunch of way too tight lines, and it is just not great in terms of readability, which I think whatever you're making, whatever you're designing, whatever you're just having in mind, readability makes sense, and readability is quite important, unless it is quote-unquote art, and things are just not supposed to be readable, which is something that I often do, even though I think it is a great goal to keep things as readable as you can and as you want to, as some sort of a challenge. Of course, I'm going to have a pretty cool poster design and whatnot, but if people can read the message that I want to bring to them, the message that I want to share, well, why? Why doing it even? If nobody can benefit from it, but maybe you through exposure and whatever it may be, but yeah. Well, I'm gonna read it. The truth is, you are a messed up guy. I guess this is thoughts from him to himself, because he wrote, or said, I wrote this letter a year ago to myself. Anyway, really messed up. I can be quite selfish and not care about other people. I am very impulsive and prefer pleasures over long-term rewards. I pretend like I am a good person who strives to do good. I am lazy and prefer not to work. I'm dishonest with myself, my goals, my abilities, and my relationships with my worldviews. You're arrogant and egoistic. You feel entitled to a good life without putting in the work to get there. You're hiding behind mental health as an excuse to not roll up your sleeves and fix your life. You could do that if you really wanted to, but ordering food, watching Netflix, watching pornography, sleeping in, not having responsibility are things you would prefer doing. You deserve the life you have right now, because it is not others making that than your own. You want to kill yourself? Why? Because life hasn't been handed to you on a silver plate. Really? You're making terrible excuses and have not seriously taken a responsibility of your own life. You are impatient and believe the world should bend over backwards to your deadlines. How delusional could one be? delusional probably could one be? Who made you isolate yourself and not try to make friends? You, of course. Who made you first watch porn and continue to watch porn? You, of course. Who made you prefer to be lazy and blame that on mental health? You, of course. Whether you like it or not, this life is yours. If it sucks, it is on you and in your hands and the choices you made. Likewise, if it is to improve, you have to make better choices and stop making excuses. And finally, stop making excuses for not having a clearly defined version for your life, by the way. Gonna highlight it. Quickly have to check whether the stream is actually working, because if it isn't the case, not that great. Don't like it that much. But apparently it works. Apparently it is fine. Apparently it is what it is. But I could actually turn it a bit. And a little bit more. Yeah, let's keep it like that. Even if it may seem a bit strange, maybe in terms of the chat that I'm having there. Anyway, let's see. Be honest, be realistic, and be patient about your life goals. The reason you are afraid to commit to a life vision is because deep down you know right now you don't have the discipline, honesty, and sense of responsibility to commit to the life vision and achieve the vision you have set out to. And when it comes to family, grow up and talk. What are you doing right now is teenage behavior. Forgot that it's unacceptable behavior. Not, a generalization, by the way. Some things that I do not necessarily like in general, even if this per se and in of itself is also a generalization. But anyway. Not talking is just burying the issues that could otherwise be solved if you spoke up and raised the issues. Also get something through your thick skull. Yes, you're going to feel uncomfortable, fail, and you will hit obstacles. This the nature of pursuing goals. Again, your point in life now is not anyone's responsibility but your own. When it comes to your loneliness, this is your own fault and your arrogance. You're not afraid of people or being rejected. You're just so unique, quote unquote, and cannot possibly fit in with other people. Get the fuck out of here. Also, yeah, you are a weird guy. You don't have a normal sense of social skills. Oh, let me isolate myself for 10 years and be surprised that I suck at making friends or relationships. Fuck out here, you hypocritical motherfucker. You can have a social life if you could just be honest with yourself. Your sense of not fitting in is not something that needs sympathy. It's pure arrogance. Come down to earth, pal. Also, when it comes to school, let go of your entitlement of expecting everything to work out for you. Again, similar to pursuing goals, you will fail, face obstacles, and you will feel uncomfortable. I mean, graduating from college with a decent enough GPA to get hired, but you have to stop being lazy and blame that on mental health. You don't like hard work, admit it. Your responsibility, evading little piece of shit. You are a responsibility, evading and blame that on a little piece of shit, You prefer to kind of work hard. You don't like what? You don't like hard work, admitted you're responsible, evading, blah, 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 blah. You prefer to kind of work hard and then throw up your hands before going the long journey because it is hard for you, and then you proclaim. Nothing can ever work out for you, and even, it's just a bit more of a rant, around this person being unhappy with his or her. I would argue his. Free Prince, I guess, yes, his life, and this per se, this in and of itself, this letter, this text that one might also just try to write to oneself, which I think is also good practice when it comes to trying to understand yourself and trying to give yourself a bit of a vision on who you are, on what you do and whatnot, just trying to understand yourself to some degree. But by doing that, you should really make sure that you're staying realistic and you're staying honest to yourself. What's going on? I don't really know if this is being really honest to oneself or to himself, basically, or just actually seeing reality in a very negative way, and just only focusing on the negative things. I mean, I do certainly think that this person has positive sides as well, and I guess this text lacks a bit in this section, which I think is a bit unfortunate, because this kind of makes it feel out of balance. And as it is with so many things in life, I guess balance, well, I do not only guess, and I think and feel like that balance is one of the most important things that there is indeed. Something that I also just in my lifetime and throughout the years have kind of, quote unquote forgotten about. I tended to ignore it, but it is fine, to have leisure. It is fine just not to work. It is fine just enjoying life. You're only having one life, and I think it is worth the basically, if you think about progress, if you think about achieving something, then on one hand you could argue, okay, this leisure time that you're gonna have, this is gonna make you be unproductive. This is gonna make you have to work longer for whatever you want to have and whatnot. But on the other hand, this could just possibly also be one of the reasons why you are able to stick with your goals, because you're just preserving energy or you're regaining energy by having leisure activities, by doing whatever you like to do, which in the end is just, kind of the reason why you've been able to get to a certain point, because you have had the leisure. But very complicated. I mean, there are so many different facets in life that could play into that, or in a positive way and or negative way. So it is pretty difficult to especially also say for other people. Knowing things about yourself and trying to understand yourself, I think, is first of all easier and more reasonable and more sensical. Because I mean, of course, I could just speculate about 100 trillion things. But I don't really know if this is gonna, if this is reality and whatnot. Maybe even the person itself doesn't know if it is reality. By actually having such a distorted view of reality, one couldn't actually say what really is and isn't reality. And also when you're just talking to somebody else and whatnot. But yeah, so a thought of mine. Be honest to yourself. Try really hard to ask questions. When you're just trying to see your reality, trying to see you as a person. Well, are you really that bad? Always questioning the thoughts that you're having. Whether it is a positive thought or whether it is a negative thought. Okay, I'm not good at X, Y, and Z. Well, is this really the case? Going back in time, going through my life and just trying to validate that point. I think it's actually pretty incredibly important to just stick to a reasonable and honest and real version of reality, quote unquote, or basically yourself to some degree, in this case at least. But I think that it is in general useful asking more questions, trying to ask better questions also yourself, to just try to actually in the end also be happy by realizing, okay, this is who I am, and these are certain areas that I would really like to work on because I just want to get better at it. I just want to improve myself in these areas. And maybe on the other hand, okay, I'm actually pretty good at these things, and I'm actually very happy, which could also lead you to thinking, well, maybe I should do this for work, because I'm already good at it. I'm already incredible at it, and I'm also having fun doing so. So in the end, I think asking questions can lead to a lot of things. Also writing things down, writing those questions down and also the answers which, you know, makes it even more objective, you know, and you're able to basically physically see what you're writing down and decide, well, is this really reality, you know, or am I just seeing something, you know, am I just trying to make myself feel that this is me or that isn't me, you know, to just maybe even prove a point internally. Could be the case. Anyway, I'm gonna end the episode here, / the stream / whatever podcast. If you've liked it, I would really appreciate you liking this episode / liking the stream and then liking the YouTube video wherever you are, and maybe even subscribe to whatever platform you are on, where you're listening or watching this episode at this point in time. But yeah, I'm gonna see you the next time. Bye bye.